And in that deep moment with him, lots of tears were had. I just felt so strongly that he was saying, cast your nets one more time.
Wow.
And I'm an emotional person. I'll try to hold it together here, but even just speaking the words again, it can like bring me back into that spot and just how loving and gracious he is.
Welcome to the Created to Win podcast. My name is Brian Summers, and I'm here with some incredible guests today. We're going to be talking about transition. We're going to talk about managing disappointment and so much more. Before I introduce you to these incredible people, though, I just want to give a quick shout out to North Arrow Coffee. We've been drinking this. My buddy Rob over in downtown. Yes, there we go. Downtown Franklin. Definitely check it out. You can buy their coffee online. You can go over downtown Franklin, Google it. You'll find it. Great coffee, great people, veteran owned. So definitely support a veteran owned business. But to other business, if you will, I want to introduce you guys to my guests. Why don't you guys go, Bre, starting off left to right. What's your name? Where are you from? And what brought you to Nashville?
Well, I'm Bre. I'm actually from Sacramento, California. And I actually moved to Nashville for a job. Love it. Am I next? Yeah. I'm Cimber. Hello, friends. Happy to be here.
Hello.
I always say my name is like the gun brand. There's a gun brand named Cimber, but I spell it differently. But people in the South always usually understand that. But I'm originally from Georgia. Moved here 2.5 years ago from East Texas. Happy to be here. My job brought me here as well. Nice.
Okay. My name is Michael Szapkiw. So last name always hangs people up when you look at the spelling, but it's just pronounced like Zap, Z-A-P-Q. And I moved to Nashville about 3 years ago. Grew up in Indiana, lived in Virginia for a number of years. But, the one answer is Jesus brought me here, but it's, that's
a good answer.
It's like, as long as you're walking with him, he kind of brings you everywhere, I suppose. But it was really just a transitional period of my life where I felt like I was being drawn to Nashville, and I gave God my yes, and he orchestrated a path for me to be here.
So cool. So cool. So you guys have all had transitions in life and, lived in different places, as have I. I grew up in California, lived in Idaho, and now God brought me to Nashville, Tennessee area, similar to you guys for a job. And I just, felt, long story short, felt called to come out here. But so we've all these transitions. What's a place or moment in your life that you felt like was a reset button, if you will? Or it felt like a reset button?
Yeah, I can go. I don't know if you guys felt like this when y'all moved here, but I feel like moving here was definitely a reset button for me, just because I knew no one when I moved here. It was really like a fresh start. And I didn't even feel like I needed a fresh start, but the Lord was like, you're going to start completely over, which is always an adventure, challenging, fun and exciting in some ways, but it was for sure a reset. And which was the cool things about reset that I feel like you learn so much about yourself. And I feel like, if you live other places for a long time, you kind of form this reputation. People know you to be a certain way. And I feel like when you move somewhere new, it's like, oh, am I really like that? I feel like I get to learn who I am again, which is kind of fun. But the hard part for me has been, starting over. Building community has been really hard for me here. And I love being here, but it's been very difficult. And I'm still trying to figure out why. But
even being like, I don't know how comfortable you feel about what you do for work, but in your role at your place of employment, I would imagine it would be not hard.
Yeah.
With the amount of people you're surrounded with.
Right. Yeah. So briefly, I work at a church here in town. It's called Rolling Hills, and I love it there. It's an amazing church. It's a big church. And so
I think great things.
Yeah. I
Carrie
think just
Underwood
maybe
goes there.
That's true. We don't talk about that a lot.
Okay. Time for me to change churches.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody shows up on Sunday. But yeah, I think even there's a lot of people my age at my church. They're in very different seasons than I am in. So that's been a little bit harder. I think a lot of people my age are married with kids, and they kind of a lot of times have friendships with each other. So yeah, I don't know. It has been a little tricky. I feel like I meet new people all the time, but of course, getting past that initial step of like building actual deep friendships and community has been hard. I'm trying. I think we're probably all trying, but yeah, it's been a little tricky. It's been like a little lonelier in that way than I expected it to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is hard. Do you have a hard time connecting with your married with kids friends?
No, just because so many of my close friends are married with kids now, my siblings, but here it's been harder.
Okay.
I think maybe just because we're looking in different places. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's been hard here, but in a general way, it's usually not super difficult.
Yeah.
But
I resonate so much with everything you just said.
yeah,
Yeah, because like I moved here 3 years ago.
yeah,
I'm also single.
yeah.
And almost all of my friends are like married with kids.
Yeah.
Even the ones that I made here. Like there's a joke I have, like if you become really good friends with me, you will meet your spouse. It's like guaranteed.
That's why Brian is sitting next
so
to
many
you.
times.
That's why Brian
She
invited
has so
her.
many friends that way.
I sat next to Brian because I know. That was it.
Right.
But it's funny you say that because I'm like a very outgoing person. Like I don't know a stranger unless
Yeah.
I want to. Like I sometimes can be reserved, but for the most part, I'm very outgoing, very friendly. At my previous job, it was a joke that I knew like half the company, and I've had a hard time building community, and I've had a really hard time building community with people who are in like a very similar stage in life as me.
Yeah.
So like the level of like patience that I have for like kids, love kids. If your kid's having a meltdown, I'm not even phased. I could like continue a conversation because so many of my friends have kids that I'm just like used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Even like back home, I think a lot of my friends who were single have now previously single have now like gotten married, which is exciting. So I've traveled a lot for back to California. It was literally, I went back to California last week and I went to 2 weddings in one day.
Wow.
In
Yeah.
one day.
I've
In
never
one
done
day.
that.
That's wild.
It was exhausting.
Did
and
you
I'm
wear the
so,
same dress and
I
everything?
did.
Good.
I
You
did.
should
I-
have.
well, I
yeah.
Very efficient.
Yeah.
It was. I had a different dress, but I was like, this is,
Yeah.
it's just not working and I'm too tired. And I'm
Yeah.
already at the first wedding. So I went to the second one.
That's awesome.
Pulling up, I felt like I was going to like prom again. Like it was like, but like 2 different ones. But it is interesting thinking through like, wow, so many of my friends are married. Some of them are starting to have kids. Like every year I feel like I'm going to 5 weddings because I am like, and then I moved here and it all kind of slowed down. And my thought was like, oh, I'll like meet people who are probably in similar stages of life as me. No, everybody's married. And you're like,
Yeah.
wow, that's okay. I'm kind of used to it. But I think sometimes it's hard to build community here because life is so established for so many
Totally.
people.
Yeah.
And they have like their rhythms and routines.
Mhm.
And it requires people to like open up
Yeah.
and like make space for you. And you're like, I have the energy to do that because I need it. And other people are like, I have it. So I don't know if I want to. So I resonate a lot
Yeah.
with what you're saying. And
Yeah.
just even the transition of like moving somewhere. Like I lived in California my whole life and then I chose to come here. And the amount of people that were like, I don't know if you had this because you were in California previously, but people are like, why Nashville? I'm like, my job, but probably something more to like what you said. I don't know what God has me here for. And I've been here for 3 years and I'm open, but it is so interesting. Like just transitioning and having your life look so drastically different and being like, do I want to be who I was before?
Right.
I had the same question. Am I that person?
Mm-hmm.
Am I not? I don't
Right.
know. Why do I feel like I'm having a crisis a
Yeah.
little bit? You know,
Right.
It's so interesting. But yeah, I resonate so much with what you just said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like anytime you move, it just is a reset, especially if you're moving out of state or out of country. You know, it's everything that was normal is basically changed at that point. And I'll speak more on the side of the community and trying to feel like it's home. For me, I was very intentional when I first moved here I always said I spread my nets wide is how I've looked back at it, where I was going to several different churches, trying different churches to see where I felt like God was calling me. I didn't want to just pick the first church that I liked, but really like pray into it and take some time with it. Not church hop forever, but to be intentional about that. But I was able to meet a lot of people in different small groups. I joined a running group. I, got involved with the dance community. Like for me, it was like, what are opportunities are out there? What things do I enjoy doing? And let me just meet a lot of different people in that way. And that was more like the first year or so. It's just getting to know people, figure out who my people are.
Yeah.
And then as I got into like after that first year, I really felt like the Lord wanted me to focus more on like going deeper with the people that I was making friendships with. And it just takes time, it takes effort to actually build friendship, especially as an adult.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want to shortchange that, or they're just sitting at home, they're not going out, they're not doing things that they love and meet people, and then they wonder why they don't have people in their life, you know.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to go deeper. It's like I felt like the need to be known and to know others better. And again, that takes a whole nother level of intentionality. Maybe then it's a small group dinner, or it's doing a one-on-one with different people to actually have conversations. Because what I find, especially with a lot of adults, is that they're good at staying surface level, going out with people, or maybe go out for drinks or something, or you see people maybe in some friend groups, or you wave at them at church, say hi, do the small talk, but you never go any deeper. And they realize they've known someone for several years and they still don't really know much about them.
Yeah.
So this is kind of an encouragement in that way for people. If you are feeling like lonely or isolated, at least do your part in that, and go out and get to know people. Invite someone to coffee. You know, there's a lot of people like, why doesn't anybody ever invite me anything? When was the last time you invited somebody to something? You know, a lot of times the thing that we're looking for, we need to do.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how it works. So I've been very fortunate. Again, I know it's a very different dynamic when you're an extrovert versus an introvert too. I'm very extroverted. It's easy for me to go in a room with 20 people that I don't know and just, you know, meet people and hang out. But yeah, I lost my train of thought on that one. But yeah, it's been a really good journey for me. But even though I was very intentional, it still took several years to really finally like, okay, these are my core people. That's what I wanted to say.
It's hard. Like when I first moved to Idaho, it was really hard to get established. When I first moved here, really hard. It took a lot of time and a lot of intentionality. I think humans, we like to be needed by other people. And when you move to a new town, you're not really needed.
Yeah.
Because people, like kind of like what you were saying, people already have their established rhythms.
Yeah.
In a sense, it doesn't feel like they need you as much because they just haven't had a chance to see the value that you can offer their lives yet.
Yeah.
And not to say that we don't have value when we move to a new place, just people just don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why it takes that consistency of like showing up so people can get to know Michael, get to know Cimber, get to know Bre, and like, oh, okay, like this is the value. Like these are good people, you know, they add value to my life. And I think it's just time and consistency.
Yeah.
Always.
So good.
And energy.
And energy.
You have to have the energy to do it.
Yeah.
Which is hard when you move.
Yeah.
That's why we drink North Arrow coffee around here.
That's right.
Right. We feel so energized right now.
Michael's having a sip right now.
Every time we mention it, I gotta hold it up. Appreciate it.
So if you guys could go back to the hardest season of your life, I know we're just gonna go kind of deep for a second, and whisper something to yourself, what would you say?
Yeah, for me, I think it's the same thing that I still tell myself even where I'm at, that despite circumstances, despite how bad things can sometimes get, or life can be so hard, it's that God is good. He loves us. He is love. He is for us. And when we trust him, everything's going to work out okay. Don't give up. Keep being obedient to his calling in your life and to his word, and it's going to be all right.
Okay. Love that.
I think I would say just keep being honest about it. Be honest about how hard it is, not only with the Lord, but with the people around you. I feel like I'm decent about being honest with the Lord when I'm frustrated or mad or think he's behind in what, you know, my best plans are. But I'm not as good as being honest with people around me. Like, this is really hard, and I want to share that. And so, yeah, just keep bringing it to him. I think that's the best thing we can do.
I think for me, I would, if I was talking to my younger self, I'd probably be like, yo, this sucks. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like what she was saying.
Yeah. Like, but like very honest about it. Like, this sucks, but like you're not alone and God is with you.
Right.
And that's what I would have needed to hear. Because I think in the hardest seasons of life, it doesn't, if I'm being honest, doesn't always feel like he's there or like he's present, but he is. And I don't think it's because, I think I feel that way not because he's not there, but because I'm not engaging in the same way or I don't know how.
Yeah.
Because that season is hard, you know, and similar to what you were saying, like it's hard to be honest with people sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to be honest with God.
Totally.
Because oftentimes it's like, am I allowed to be mad at you for the thing I'm experiencing?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to question that you're good? And it's like, we know the answer is yes, right? Like he can handle it.
Yeah.
And you're not a bad Christian if you're like struggling with it. But like, I think in a hard season, for me personally, I would like need to be reminded, like, yeah, this is hard, but like you're not alone. And God specifically not just is with you, but he sees you.
Yeah.
Like you've not been forgotten.
Yeah.
I think that's so good. I think it's so important to be in tune with the voice of our heart, to really have an honest reflection. Like, this is where I'm at. Because once you can identify where you're at, it's like, man, I'm lonely.
Yeah.
Well, I can go and isolate and cope in negative ways,
Yeah.
you know, playing video games or doom scrolling Instagram or whatever. Or I could be like, you know, I need to call my friend. I'm going to go play pickleball or join a run club. You know, but it's getting that honesty of like, hey, I'm not okay. What's going on? And then just figuring out, okay, how do I move forward in a positive way? 'Cause God is good. He's going to always provide a way. But I think we need to be honest to know where we're really at.
Yeah. Definitely.
I feel like that's one of the big pitfalls that we have in Christianity is this. We feel like we have to play perfect or that we have everything together, or because God is good, my life has to always be look amazing to everyone else. And that it's just such a trap, really.
Yeah.
Because we serve an authentic, real God, and he calls us to be authentic and real. And that's what speaks to people is that we have God in our life and life is still hard. I follow God and my life still might look similar to someone else's, except deep down there's actually joy there. And there's peace and there's trust. But it's being willing to be real that I think is what really speaks to people outside the church and just among each other. And once we can be honest with sometimes we can't even be honest with ourselves. It's like, wow, this is really hard right now. You know, we want to sometimes muscle our way through in our own strength and pretend like it's not bad. So I think it kind of starts there. It's being willing to be honest with yourself, and then hopefully being honest with a friend or two or a family member, you know, so that you can have that support. We are made for community and for support in the body of Christ. And so we need that. So that would be my encouragement for people too, is to don't sit in it, don't isolate, be willing to admit that it's going on, and don't let yourself just sit there alone in it.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I love that, Michael. What's a moment you guys knew it was time to start over? Like going into a new season, it's like, hey, what was the moment you're like, hey, now's the time I need to make a transition and start over, hit that reset button?
I think for me, it's never been maybe a moment. It's happened gradually over time, which I'm kind of thankful that that's been the case in me with the Lord. Whenever there's a transition that happens, like it almost takes me, you know, sometimes 6 months to a year to like, it's kind of starts with an unsettling of, oh, like I used to feel so at home here and now I don't anymore. And you can tell that God is stirring something in you, but you don't exactly know what it is. And you go through all the questions of, is this me? And am I being discontent, or is God moving me? And so you have that journey with him of trying to get all those questions asked. And so for me, it took a long time every time I have like a reset button. But yeah, I don't know. I think it maybe can look different for everybody, but for me, it always just starts with a little bit of unsettledness and then trying to like press into that of what does that mean? Is that coming from like my flesh or the Spirit of God? And then walking out that journey with the Lord. And usually it's been him saying, I've been kind of preparing you for something new, and it's just going to take a little while till you're actually ready to like say yes and, you know, go for it.
Yeah.
But
That's good. Yeah, you're right. It looks different for everyone. I know for me, when I was in Idaho, just the river dried up. Lost my job.
yeah.
Just a lot of things just kind of fell through, and I could have had a good life still, and I'm sure would have figured something out. But just I was applying, and the place that happened to hire me is in Nashville, and it took me, I think, 12 interviews to get in. And I'm like, that's interesting. The place that's really hard to get in, where they have this extensive vetting process, they accept me, but then all my personal networking and the people I know, where I had the foot in the door, and you know, where and I had a good resume, I was like, just rejection. Oh, I guess I'm going to Nashville.
Yeah.
Because nothing was holding me down at that point.
Mm.
And yeah, long story short, it's just the river dried up.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's just these doors that start closing, where you're like, it was once a flowing stream and now it's just dried up. I'm like, well, I still got a drink, so I better go to a different stream.
Yeah.
You know?
It's good.
I have such a similar story. I don't think we've ever talked about that,
No,
because
we
like
haven't.
I was in California and I worked for like a Fortune 500 company, and I had applied for this position within it, and I thought I was going to get it. Like, it just looked so good, and it didn't happen. It was like the recruiter called me, and as soon as she called me, I was like, I didn't get this job.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I'm so sorry, Bre. They usually just like email you.
Yeah.
And I had a similar thing where I was like, what do I do? Like, usually for me, I'm miserable. Like, I'm to a point where I'm like, God has to like kind of like, some people can just walk into transition. Others of us, myself, have to be pushed off a cliff. Like,
Or pulled kicking and screaming.
yes, 100%. That's me. Like, I think you had like sent us questions and you were talking about like something about obedience. And I'm like, yeah, no, I've always been 110% obedient to God, not kicking and screaming at all. Like, of course, 100%, the exact opposite. But this was like, I was sitting in my like room on the floor applying for jobs. And I just put my computer down and I said, I just need you to give me a job. Like, I need to know you care, God. And then I said, just drop something in my lap at this point. Like, I just need to know that you see this part of my life and it matters to you, because it's important to me. And then like 2 weeks later, I got a call from the job that I was at, and I ended up coming out here. But it was also a long interview process. It was like, I think 11 interviews. It was a lot. And this was the last place I actually wanted to be. Not that like there's anything wrong with Nashville. I just didn't want to leave California if I didn't have to. But at that point I was open. And then every door that could have worked out didn't. This was the only one that opened, and it brought me here. And I'm like so grateful now. But yeah, that was hard. That was hard, because I was sad. I didn't want to leave the life I had, or the friendships I had, or the things that I had established. But I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
But still, it was hard.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever felt like God was late?
Yeah, I still kind of feel like he's late in some things. Yeah.
He's constantly late. Are you kidding me? I have my timeline for everything, and I guess I'll go ahead and jump in here. Since we're kind of in the whole career thing, and now the feeling that God was late. I actually went through that just last year in a very deep way, where I transitioned from, I was in Indiana before I moved to Nashville. And I don't know if we'll get into that story or not, but I'd gotten laid off from my previous job. Like, they had multiple layoffs, and I was like, in that transition period, I thought, I'll just go ahead and move while I'm at it too, and that sort of thing. So I ended up having a lot of different things that year, but basically I moved to Nashville and just worked for myself for a while, and overall realized that God was allowing me to have a season of rest. And I needed a season of rest, and I didn't realize how much I needed it while I was still working and taking care of myself. It was fine. I also had extra time that I was able to do that. But I got to a point last year where it was like I knew that I needed to be proactive in looking for full-time work again. And several things fell through with my own business, and then some things I had applied to a lot of different jobs that year, and I'd go through the same thing, like the 5-6 interview process, only to be left with nothing, kind of a thing. And I was getting to that point where something needed to change. I'm like, Lord, you brought me here to Nashville. I know you didn't bring me here to fail. I know I'm supposed to be here. All that, line of thinking. And so I had like a week or so there where I was just feeling really dark about where things were, and things not going the way I thought they should, and having my hands in the air, like, God, what's going on? And in that deep moment with him, lots of tears were had. I just felt so strongly that he was saying, cast your nets one more time.
Wow.
And I'm an emotional person. I'll try to hold it together here, but even just speaking the words again, it can like bring me back into that spot, and just how loving and gracious he is also where that comes from. But I was like, wait, what? But I just felt so strongly he was saying, just cast the nets one more time. And I believe it was within a week of that, and I looked up those verses, but it was within a week of that 2 different friends individually came to me with jobs openings at their companies.
Wow.
And I applied to both. One I thought I was more qualified for, that I wanted more. That one fell through. Like, I wasn't even going to finish with the interview process and the other one if I'd gotten the one, but I didn't. I'm like, all right, Lord, well, I guess I need to finish this other process out with this other job. And I'm gonna rabbit trail real quick. There was a guy that I was like kind of friends with, but I didn't see him that often, but he would keep inviting me to like lunches or coffee, and every once in a while he would do that, and I would say, oh, okay, sure. I was like, I don't know why he keeps reaching out to me, but and it was one of those moments where he was one of those 2 friends that said, hey, I actually have something in my department right now, you should apply. And I went through the process, and that was the job that I ended up getting. Wow. It was like that casting of the nets. It was one of those 2 jobs that God brought me to. And even though, despite my doubts, that was even the job for me at the time, I got it. And I absolutely love the people I work with there. It's like great boss, great department, good company. And I just, it's been confirmed with me over and over again that I'm where I'm supposed to be again there. Wow. But I had to be willing to trust him all the way to the 11th hour in that. Yeah. I just feel like God is always just saying, do you trust me? Do you trust me? Yeah. And I thought I was in a good spot with him already. I'm like, yeah, I can trust you, Lord. But it's like, he still took me all the way to the edge with this one again, and then gave me the word and came through.
That is such a good reminder of like, hey, cast your nets. For with that gospel message where they'd all gone fishing and they hadn't caught anything, and Jesus is like, hey, go do it one more time. And they're like, it's not the right timing, or they were fishermen, they did it for a living, and it didn't make any sense, but and then they catch more fish than they can even handle. And I think that's just such a good reminder when we're discouraged, when things aren't working out or things seem too late. It's like, but it's just like, hey, cast your net again. Just go reach out to that person one more time. Apply to the job. Like, go for your dream. Like, cast whatever it is, cast your net, and it might be more abundant than you could ever ask, think, or imagine.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. I think that's a powerful, that's a sermon right there. Cast your net. Yeah. Try again. Yeah. Even if you're discouraged, like, those fishermen they're like, and they didn't believe it, but they're just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Cause they said, teacher, we've been fishing all night. Yeah. We got nothing. Yeah. But you're saying, toss it one more time. Okay. Because I know who you are.
Yeah.
I will do this, and all the fish.
Yeah.
That's encouraging, man. Yeah.
I love that.
Wow.
Quick similar story for me. Right before I moved here, I was in Texas and felt the Lord kind of just like transitioning me into something new, and thought, he had this great job lined up for me in Atlanta, and kind of left Texas in faith, like knowing the Atlanta thing would work out. And my family lived kind of close to Atlanta, so moved back home, and that job fell through. And I was pretty upset because I almost felt like, I thought this was a guaranteed thing. Like, what in the world? I literally just, uprooted my whole life. Yeah. And it's not working out, and I'm unemployed, and just kept applying for things in, the Atlanta area. And I just felt so sure, like the Lord is going to put me here because it's close to family. I haven't lived near them in so long. And, you know, but just like closed door after closed door after closed door. And I remember it was my 35th birthday, and I was like back in my childhood bedroom, like staying with my parents. And I was like, Lord, this is a real new low. I'm like turning 35 in my childhood bedroom, like living with my parents again. You know, I had just had a significant like romantic relationship end. And I was like, this is like kind of the worst. This is the worst.
Just living back with your parents wasn't part of your plan.
No, it wasn't. And they're amazing. But I was just like, not what I pictured for myself.
You can love your parents and not want to live with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's totally
exactly.
fair.
that's
They can be amazing people, and you're just like, but this is not what I wanted. Yeah.
Totally. So just a new low. So many tears, so much like confusion, so many more like closed doors after that. And eventually the Lord just, you know, expanded my mind of like, you need to start looking elsewhere. You need to get out of your mindset of being in Atlanta, and which is how the Lord led me here and opened up a door here. But I don't know if you would say the same, but like looking back at some of the hardest moments, like just the dependency you have to have on the Lord. And because of that, the intimacy you gain with him is just, you know, it's such a gift. And it takes those lowest moments to see him in new ways and experience him in new ways. And just to see him close a lot of doors to open exactly the right one gives you so much confidence and reassurance when you are in that place and you are in that position, even though it is hard. Like, I know that God has led me here, and there's so much assurance that comes from that. But when you're in the thick of it, when you're in that moment and you're like crying in your bedroom, you know, you're just like
At your parents' house.
at your parents' house, which I won't tell them about.
Real.
But it's real and it's hard.
Yeah.
But the Lord is at work. He's always at work. And we think he's behind, but he's not.
Yeah.
He's just on a different time frame than we
Just
are.
that song
He's always on
Waymaker.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
even when I can't see it, you're working.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Totally.
so good.
Yeah.
Wow. Had you guys feel like you've ever rushed God's timing, or got out of God's timing of things, or forced things?
Probably.
Yeah, I'm sure I
And,
have.
and what have you learned from that?
It's not good. It's not good. On like
Yeah.
that's probably really blunt what it was, but
I like
it's
it.
not.
Yeah.
When I think about the like relationships I've been in, where I'm like, oh, that was not great. Like I wasn't the best version of myself. He probably wasn't, or maybe that's who he is. I don't know. You know, like I think relationships are the things that I like often think about, where I'm like, oh, the timing of that.
Yeah.
Or the person, like, were we compatible? Were we not compatible is one thing, but like, I just never felt like I had peace about it. Like when I talk to my friends who are married and they're like, you'll just know. And I'm like, how do you know? And they're like, you're just gonna know. It's not helpful for me. But I see that there's like a peace in their life, and their like ministries and their lives are like aligned. And I think that like I've rushed that at times, and it just didn't go right, or it didn't feel right. Or even just like places that like I've gone work wise and been like, oh, I don't think this was actually for me. I don't know if that was the right thing or not. It's so hard. And I don't know if that's like because we have free will, right? And so we kind of get to choose, or if it's like I'm just trying to fit a circle and a square, and I'm like, oh man, this is not right. It's not what the Lord had for me.
Yeah.
I can't think of a specific moment where he was like, don't go do that, and I did the opposite. But I wonder if maybe I just wasn't like listening.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he was like telling me through like friends or family, and I just didn't see it. But yeah, I feel like when it's not in his timing, it's never really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do believe that if it's something's really not of the Lord, he'll tell us one way or another.
Yeah.
And vice versa. If it's really something he really wants us to do, he'll give us clear signs to do it. If it's something really clear.
Yeah.
Now we can still choose to not follow the Lord.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember there's a particular conversation with someone, not to go into too much detail, where that was basically my sign not to marry the person I did. And that was rushing God's timing. And I feel like that was like the Lord speaking to me through this individual,
Yeah.
and I did not hear them out. And then a whole, you know, a whole bunch of devastation came from that.
Yeah.
And then I have to bear the weight of that
Mm-hmm.
that season and that responsibility of my mistakes for rushing God and not
Yeah.
hearing correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do believe. And I was like, yeah, like part of me was like, why did I go through that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess you did kind of give me some signs, Lord. I think I kind of just rushed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And he gave me some signs.
Yeah.
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 Just ignore them.
I feel like the same. I feel like relationships is a big way that I've tried to rush in the past, and I see the same pattern in other people too, because there's, speaking of just being in people of faith, at least, like there is that strong desire to want a mate, a spouse, and that's a good thing, and also we still need to not jump into things or with the wrong people or get impatient with the Lord or who he's calling you to.
Yeah.
And God in his grace will let us make those bad decisions. And also it can set us way back to where he really does want us to be. And I saw that to be true for me, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is good. And I felt like I was following the Lord or praying, but yeah, there were still parts of it that I was ignoring him. He was definitely there speaking, but there were still elements of it that I wasn't listening to.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how we can still fool ourselves or have blind spots in our own lives. And also that's why it's so important to have community and accountability, people in your life that know you and love you, that can say, hey, I know you're kind of like looking at this with rose-colored glasses right now, but I'm seeing these other things that aren't healthy with this person that you're with.
Yeah.
And it's so important and valuable. And then also for us to be willing to hear those people and trust them. Not that they're always right, but at least hear them out, because it's so easy to be blinded by situations when you're in it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, and you're like swept up by all the excitement of something like new and different.
Yeah.
And you want it to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love your comment about community. I think that's so important, because your friends, your real friends, are going to tell you the things that you don't want to hear, and the things that maybe kind of like sting a little bit. But that's how for me, that's how I've always known, oh, you actually genuinely care about me.
Mm-hmm.
Because the friends who let me like go through some of those like hard relationships or like those choices were the ones encouraging me to be like, oh, it's okay. If it makes you happy, do it. And I'm like, not everything is about my happiness. Sometimes it's about making me more like Jesus.
Yeah.
And some of that is suffering.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
I say that with a laugh, but it's because like, as you were talking about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
having some of like your lowest lows, you find this like deep intimacy with God and it becomes a gift. And some of like the hardest relationships I've gone through, and I don't even mean just like romantic, just friendships that I've had to end, like being like, wow, I've known you for like 5, 6, 7, 10 plus years at this point, but like our friendship is not healthy. Like, man, this sucks to end. And then seeing like what it looks like to have those people who love and care about you, who are honest with you, even when you don't want them to be. Like, those are the people that are like gold that you just like cling to so closely, because they love you enough to be honest with you and tell you the thing that you don't want to hear, but is like good for you. And I think we can probably all agree with that. So
Totally.
I love honesty. My biggest pet peeve is fake nice people, where they're like just too nice, but it's just like they're not being honest with me.
yeah.
That's why I love New Yorkers and people. They're just so direct.
Sorry.
I'm like, whether or not, like, I'd rather almost be it'd be air on the side of like hurtful, but like I know at least it's true.
Yeah.
Like I like that better than sometimes people are like they're fake nice. And like I'm in sales, for example, and people think like, oh, sales might be hard because of all the no's. Let me tell you, someone who's been doing sales for a long time. It's not the no's. It's the ghosting or the maybes, or like you're not getting a clear answer. Because I'll tell you, as a salesperson, if you were like, hey, I am not interested, I will leave you alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like, well, maybe call me back in 3 months, but now I have to call you back in 3 months. That's part of my job. Just tell me you're not interested.
Yeah.
I promise.
imagine
It's
you-
all good.
I imagine you feel the same way with dating then too. It's like, just tell me you don't want to get coffee and don't just
Yeah.
keep saying you're busy for
Yeah,
10 times a day,
100%.
right?
It's the figuring out of what they're really saying, which is like the really
Yeah.
frustrating part. It's just
Right.
like, I just love, like, it's like Jesus says, let your yes be your yes
Yeah.
and your no be your no.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm laughing because I tell guys if I'm not interested, and
Good for you.
it's never mean. I just like, hey, I think you're a
Yeah.
really nice guy. I just don't see this going anywhere, and I don't want to go on like a third date with you and you pay for dinner for me. That seems mean.
Yeah.
But there's so many people I know who are like, I'm just gonna go get my dinner, get my lunch.
Free dinners.
Yeah,
No.
I'm like, that's horrible.
I lose respect immediately for women
Yeah.
that are like that.
That's
So,
mean.
Good on you. Again, ladies,
I try.
be kind to the guys.
Yeah.
It's hard for some guys to approach women, to even ask.
Yeah.
So just be kind. Be a good sister in Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And encourage them even with the no.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
to the
Yeah.
men, ask just nicely. Would you like to grab coffee sometime? No.
Do people ever do it meanly?
No,
Oh.
Ask mainly?
I don't think it's mean. I don't think it's. Is that a word? I don't know.
I don't
Is it
know.
really a word?
I don't think it is.
No,
Probably not.
I think it's more like, I think we live in a day and age where, this is my perspective. I'm curious because we have 2 men and 2 women in the room. I think, are we all single? I'm assuming. We're all like dating.
Unmarried.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, here, right. Okay,
Yeah.
so not married, I guess.
not married. yeah.
Here's what I find interesting. In dating, right? Like, I think men feel very uncomfortable approaching women these days. Like, I've kind of noticed, like, I have some friends, different ages, varying groups, like early 20s, late 30s, like everyone in between. And they're like, man, I'm like nervous to ask a girl out. I don't want to get rejected. But then I hear these stories about how like women are not really nice when it happens. And I'm like, well, no wonder you're like afraid. But then I also hear from other friends, they're like, nobody's asking me out. Like even on an app, like nobody's saying anything. I'm like, I don't know what the right thing is anymore. I don't know how you properly ask somebody out. My thought is you just walk up and ask them like, hey, you seem like a nice person. Do you want to grab coffee sometime?
Yeah.
And typically if somebody asks me, I'll say yes. It's like, yeah, why not? You seem like a nice person. Sure. Unless you like do it in a weird way, you know? I can't give you an example. I feel like I should be able to give an example of it. But I
Yeah.
think if you come across like you couldn't take no for an answer for some reason, that's a little nerve-wracking for a girl. I also know it's super nerve-wracking for a guy to just ask, you know? Yeah.
Tell us all your good rejection stories, guys. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. She's here for the tea.
Oh yeah. No, I've been rejected before. Well, I'll say this. I think when a woman's operating in her feminine energy, it's very easy for a guy to ask her out. I think sometimes women unconsciously put out a lot of masculine energy because you have to kind of do that in the workplace. And this might not be popular, but men love feminine energy. We're very drawn to it. And so it's like this receiving energy, whereas like the man's energy is like giving and serving. And so that kind of plays out differently. I call it like playing good catch. And I don't think, and this isn't like knocking women or knocking men. It's just we just play better catch. And what I mean by that is I'm a ball. I'm going to throw it to Michael. I'm not going to make it difficult. He's going to catch. He's going to throw it back. We're just tossing the ball back and forth. I'm not going to like throw him a grounder or like throw it really far or make him run for it. And so it's just basic things like, how are you doing? Good. How are you doing? Like, and it just like kind of, and just the back and forth, like, hey, we're just playing catch. And it's like the masculine energy and then the feminine energy. I think those are some practical things that I've noticed. And also I'm friends with a lot of like one of the dating coaches for Heart of Dating, which is a podcast about Christian dating. So I've been around a lot of their teaching. That's one of the big things that they teach. And I think we could all get better at that. And that'll help with that particular scenario, just kind of as a blanket statement for most people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I don't know if we're going to talk about that subject. But
Yeah, I don't want to go too far off. With
Yeah.
what you
It
wanna
always
hey, it's all good.
focus on.
It kind of it ties in. I did want to, or did you want to say, anyone else want to say anything else on that?
I'll just say I agree with you.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Or did anyone disagree with what I said? I'm not an expert on that subject.
This conversation
Well,
has
clearly
come
not
up
either.
a lot. I don't know. This is also going on the internet, so maybe not this part.
Okay.
I'm so curious. What is it like when people say operate in like a masculine or feminine energy? Like, what does that look like?
Well,
And what do you think that looks like?
it's just feminine energy is very inviting. Like I feel comfortable talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Not you, but I just mean like you feel
generally yeah.
Yeah. It's very inviting. Like, hey, how's it going? Like, just very like you're receiving it very, very well. Because they say like, oh, men are intimidated to ask, and I think part of it is because women aren't giving this very inviting like. So it's like because we want to see like. Because it feels weird to be super cold. Like cold calling's hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're gonna cold call someone, ask them this is because I'm in sales. I've done this. You cold call someone, you don't have a relationship with them. You try to book a 30-minute demo with them. That's a grind. You got to go through the numbers, and so in order to avoid the whole cold call, it's like there's got to be like this inviting. And yeah, do men need to step up? Of course, but I think if women want to be asked out more. Be very make it so just inviting. Everything that he's saying, like just receive it really well. That's what I mean by that. I did one. I feel like Cimber, because she's written an incredible book. Maybe you could share a little bit about that. But I'd love to hear your mindset around managing disappointment. Like, how do you stay hopeful when life doesn't go the way that you prayed? And maybe also shout out your book for a second.
Well, it's very kind. I'll do that at the end. But yeah, oh gosh, hope is fun. It's a funny thing. It's like we need it, but it feels dangerous sometimes. I think about that verse in Proverbs 13. It says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but when a dream comes to life, it brings, life and joy. And so I think that's like the essence of disappointment, hope deferred. And most of our disappointment comes from unmet expectations. And we all have a lot of them, and we usually don't realize it until we're living in them being unmet. And then we realize, oh, I didn't realize I was thinking about this a certain way. But I think for me, and I always have to come back to this, it's like, Cimber, you can't place your hope ultimately in people, in positions, in places. You have to place it continually back on the Lord.
So good.
Because he is ultimately the one who never fails. Even the best people in our life are going to fail us to some degree, even if they don't want to, and we'll fail them. But the Lord doesn't fail. And so it's just trying to remember, like, okay, my hope is I have to keep placing it like on the person of Christ, knowing that he will not fail me and he does fulfill me in every sense. But yeah, disappointment is such a real thing. And I don't know if you guys have experienced this. I feel like a lot of times it's like if you experience enough disappointment, it can turn into discouragement. And then if you don't process that discouragement, it can turn into devastation. And it's just like keeps getting deeper and heavier and heavier. And so it's just constantly, again, bringing it to the foot of the cross, bringing it to the Lord, processing it with him. And it takes courage to remain hopeful. Like it really does. Just like, I'm not going to let my timeline or things not turning out as I've prayed for so long keep me from losing hope in who Christ is and the plan that he has for me. I know the enemy would love for us to do that. Like it's time to give that up. It's time to let that go. If he hasn't done it by now, he's not going to.
Jesus is like, cast that net one more time.
Yes. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. So yeah, it's just very simply but powerfully placing hope in Christ and not in the thing that whatever it is that we want, which is different in maybe every season. And there's always something we're waiting on, something that we wish was different. And so and I'm not great at that. Like I wish that my hope was always fully secure in the Lord. It's not. It's really a daily surrender.
Yeah.
But that's okay. He wants it to be a daily surrender. So
Yeah, it's like that daily dependence, the daily
Yeah.
manna or the daily bread.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Tell us just a little snippet about your book.
Oh, that's very kind. It's called 20 something. I wrote it when I was turning 30, just as a means to kind of bless young women in their 20s who were walking through life and had a lot of questions like myself. And so it's just stories from my real life about my 20s, hopefully to encourage them as they pursue the Lord and navigate all the questions and all the disappointments and all the joys. It's a lot. So it's called 20 something, but that's kind of you to bring it up.
Where can young women get that?
Yeah, do you want to read it and review it for me? It's on Amazon.
It probably
if you
could be
just search
encouraging
20.
to
I could probably get it.
I always
first.
tell guys, if you want to understand how a woman's mind works, read my book. You know, you get like an inside scoop into, oh, that's weird that they think that way, but it's how we think a lot of times. But it's on Amazon.
I don't know. I don't think most women even know how their own brain works.
That's true,
so
and it's
I don't know.
that's true, and it's always changing. It's always changing.
I think that's just men and women in general.
Yeah.
Your like frontal lobe isn't developed for a long time.
Yeah.
So you're still like figuring it out.
So true.
So good. What else do you guys have on the subject of like managing disappointment? Like how do you process that in a healthy way?
How do you process it? Do you want to answer?
Yeah. I went through an incredible group therapy through Plumline. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that
I
before.
did Plumline too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Did you do the 12-week or did you do an intensive?
12-week.
I did an intensive.
Oh, okay, that's intense.
Yeah. It's like you have an option for like a 12-week program, or you can do like a weekend. I don't think he does the weekends anymore. But yes, sorry,
okay.
Plumline. What a life-changing experience.
Yeah, and that helped me understand there's 8 core emotions that we're born with. I don't know if I got name all of them, but there's things like sad, anger, loneliness, shame, a couple other ones. Glad's like the only seemingly positive emotion, but we're all born with them. And so because we're born with certain innate emotions, it's learning how to discern what am I feeling and experiencing. And you can experience multiple at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I could be feeling anger, which in what they define as anger, it's not like, oh, I'm mad.
Yeah.
It's more like I have a lot of zeal or desire to accomplish something. Like if I really want to go, win the race, or I'm playing a game and I want to win, I've got a lot of anger, meaning I really want to win. It's just like I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah.
That's what they mean by that. So I could have like anger and hurt. That's a bad combo. I'm like, I really want to get back at this person because they hurt me. And so anyways, it's just first because I wasn't in tune with the voice of my heart. I didn't learn how to do that very well. So I had to learn and discern, what am I feeling? I'm feeling shame right now because I really put my foot in my mouth yesterday and said something I shouldn't have done. Or, yeah, man, I'm lonely. And getting honest, because before I learned how to discern what's going on in my heart, I would just feel bad and I wouldn't know why. And then I'd be having chocolate chip cookie ice cream. You know what I mean? As a coping method,
Yeah.
And just sometimes, you're just off.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I don't know why I'm off. That really helped me understand, why am I off? Because you can't, unless you diagnose the right issue, you can never prescribe the right medicine. And if you don't properly diagnose, you're going to turn to a coping method, like I have so many times. And that could be a lot of different things. So it's like, wow, I'm lonely. Okay, I'm experiencing disappointment because I'm hurt, because I feel like I'm not needed by my friendship circle, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then realizing, hey, what's the need of my heart? If it's loneliness, it's like I need that community. So now I'm going to take steps towards that. But I think, and it ties back to what you guys were saying, of just being honest with where you're at and self-identifying it, and then figuring out, hey, I'm not going to cope. I'm going to find the right path for it, and God will give us the right direction through the people He puts in our life and His wisdom.
Yeah.
But I also do think that we have to have a healthy fear of the Lord as well. Proverbs says that the beginning of wisdom, fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And it's so important that we don't just love God, but we fear Him. We want to obey His commandments.
Mm-hmm.
Not because, following the law gets us saved. It's only by, grace and by faith in Jesus and what He's done on the cross that we're saved. But there is a level of like walking out our, like Paul says, our salvation with fear and trembling.
Mm-hmm.
And taking it very serious. Like God is a holy God. Even the prayer, hallowed, our Father, hallowed be thy name. Holy is it. He's an holy and awesome God. We don't have like a reverence.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why a lot of times people can go to church and never change their life. And yeah, I love Jesus, but it's like, yeah, but you're clearly walking in sin and they don't even see it. There's no fear of the Lord.
Yeah.
So I think it's getting honest with our heart. It's having a healthy fear of the Lord in the right way, to where it's like we actually want to walk things out God's ways.
Yeah.
Because you have to, Jesus approaches that one person. Do you want to be healed?
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't want to be healed.
Mm-hmm.
They want to remain the victim. It's like we have to want it, and we have to want it God's ways, and we have to walk in wisdom. And the only way to have wisdom is to have a healthy fear of the Lord.
Yeah.
So that would be my response. Yeah.
Yeah. Disappointment just seems like at its simplified version is it's our expectations unmet or what we think God is supposed to be doing. And I've just found that there's like this phrase, but it's when things don't go our way, or if we get a no from God, let's say, it's not always rejection, it's protection.
Yeah.
And we never see fully everything that God is doing.
Right.
But it's still coming back to that trust factor. It's okay to be in that moment though. Hey, I'm disappointed, Lord, I'm hurt. This is hard. It's not what I thought it was going to be. But God, but you are still God, but you still love me. You are working something out in me, through me.
Mm-hmm.
One thing you mentioned earlier, I'll tie that into this too, was God. I feel like God would rather us be upset, curse at Him, yell, scream, whatever, than to ignore Him.
Yeah.
Because at least there's still emotion there. At least you're still talking to Him.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of people, it's again, that's like another encouragement to me, from me for people that might be listening to this, that it's okay to be angry at God. He can take it.
Yeah.
Yell at Him, go through it. And it's usually when you are willing to do that, you can get back to that peace.
Yeah.
Like you finally recognize what's going on and acknowledged it and allowed it to come out.
Yeah.
And now God can start restoring things in you.
So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So good. Well, why don't we
good.
end this just going around saying, hey, if someone's going through a transition or a difficult time needing help managing their disappointment, what's a scripture or just an encouraging word to leave them?
James 4:8, draw near to Christ and He will draw near to you.
Love that.
There's always that invitation to come to Him first. A lot of times we think of God as the initiator, but so many times in the Bible, it's about Him waiting for us to come to Him first, to seek Him out, to draw near to Him so that He then can draw near to us. And again, whenever we feel lonely or like He's distant, we're always the ones that have made ourselves distant.
Yeah.
So that's my huge encouragement, is that if you're feeling like God's not around, where are you, Lord? Draw near to Him.
Yeah.
So good.
It's good.
Love it.
Yeah.
I think ultimately I have to tell myself this, but like disappointment or a really hard transition is always an invitation from God to deeper intimacy with Him, if we allow it to be.
Yeah.
And so just recognizing those moments, even if it's lasting longer than we hope, even if it turns into an entire season or year of your life, it's continuing to say yes to His presence and know like God's inviting me into something. And through drawing near to him, I pray that my life is going to look different, and he's working out something in me. He's producing something in me that I think makes us better prepared to steward what he has for us. Like, you know, it's like sometimes we hold on to so much to the promise, but we're not quite ready for it.
Yeah.
And
That's
the
a
Lord
sermon.
is, you know, he's preparing us for it. And I think disappointment is a huge way that he does it
Yeah.
to draw us closer to him. And then with that intimacy with him, we can steward it properly, and we can hold it properly, and we can hold it open-handedly, because we know, like, actually I can live without this thing, maybe even this promise, but I can't live without the Lord. And that matters the most. So just using it as an invitation to come back over and over and over again.
So good. I'm just curious, like, in your role, would you say you're mostly impacting like 18 to 25-year-olds? Is that kind of your demographic?
Yeah, mostly.
What
Yeah.
percentage of them are dealing with significant discouragement, you'd say?
Yeah. All of them.
Okay. So this
Depending
is a
on the day
universal
of the
thing.
week.
Yeah.
Totally. And
Yeah.
it's different as it is maybe for us day to day. And if it's not now, it'll be a week from now, you know? So it's like there's always someone within that ministry that's dealing through disappointment, because it's just, oh, my life is looking differently than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And what do I do with that? And so, yeah, it's huge. It's not like everyone's depressed and discouraged all the time, but it's so much transition
Yeah.
and a lot of, oh, this is different. Now,
Yeah.
what do I do with it? So it's a consistent theme for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bree, you want to
Yeah, bring us home.
bring us home?
The thing that I think through is like, he who began a good work in you is faithful to complete it.
Amen.
So if it's not good, it's not done. And I think when we go through like hard seasons or disappointments, or really what we're saying is like, hey, I'm grieving this thing that I thought I would have,
Yeah.
or I'm grieving the way I thought my life would look. The Lord is so faithful. Like, he will turn your like sorrows into joy.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so if it's not good, it's not done.
Yeah.
Like, he's still working, and he's still moving things forward. So yeah, that would be my encouragement. If it's not good, it's not done.
I love that. And his mercies are new
Amen.
every morning.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, thank you so much for joining the podcast. And just so grateful for all of you guys sharing this. Apparently everyone 18 to 25 is struggling with disappointment. I would imagine at least everyone from 18 to 120 are dealing with it. So I think
100%.
this is going to help people.
Yeah. It's
Great.
good.
All right, guys. Well, have a
Thanks
good
for
one.
having us,
Thanks
Brian.
for having us.
Brian.
Yeah.
Great.